So I've got most of my plywood cut down, and the way that I like to break down an entire sheet of plywood is by laying it on top of a piece of 1.5 inch thick rigid foam insulation on the floor. That way it's fully supported. And then I can cut it down with the new track saw from Kreg. And that gives me those nice, clean, straight cuts while completely supporting that sheet of plywood. Kreg also has the entire adaptive cutting system that allows you to make a variety of cuts, even comes with a cutting table and guides for 45s, straight cuts, parallel cuts, and all of that stuff. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure you go check that out on kregtool.com. Now I've got a few more cuts to make before we move on to the assembly, which will start out by just assembling the shell of the unit. But one thing I did want to highlight is that this nightstand is going to have a slide out shelf on the side that's going to fit nice and tight into the side and be completely concealed when it's stored. Now for that shelf, you can use the plywood or cut a piece of plywood out of that full sheet that we started with. However, I actually had a piece of leftover pre-finished plywood that I think is gonna work out great. Not only is it gonna slide smooth, but that baked on pre-finished finish or coating is not going to get scarred up as that shelf gets slid in and out of the nightstand. Now for the top, we've got our 3/4 inch plywood top, but then we're gonna be beefing that up with some 1x2s. And we're just going to create a U shape. We're gonna do 3 sides because this is going to allow for that pocket that's gonna house that slide out, but it's also gonna give us a little bit beefier look for the top. So I'm gonna glue those and tack those in place, and then I'll measure for this last piece, cut that to fit, and then tack and glue that in place as well. When it came to the drawer box, essentially building the frame doesn't always get it perfectly square, so you can really just use the base, which in this case is just 1/4 inch plywood, to square everything up before stapling it in place. After adding some shellac to the drawer box, then I was able to move on to the faux fluting on the drawer front. To do so, I just used a table saw and made about 1 million shallow cuts, which gave me that faux fluted effect. And despite it being super time consuming, it actually turned out really good. Now all of this is going to be assembled with 1.25 inch pocket holes. For those pocket holes, we're gonna be using the new Kreg 720 Pro, and I love the new advancements that they've done to their pocket hole jig, because not only do they have even better dust extraction, but they also have a clamping feature that adjusts the jig to the right spot. So if you're clamping a 3/4 inch board, it's going to adjust that jig for you, as well as moving from a 3/4 inch board to 1.5 inch thick board. It's gonna make sure that that pocket hole always falls in the right spot. Now, I went ahead and assembled the base to the top using those 1.25 inch pocket hole screws. And right now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be installing this board. And the reason this is cut like this is because this is going to go in here, and this is going to capture this is going to support that shelf that slides out, but it's also, this recess here is going to act as a positive stop for when that board gets slid all the way out. Okay, so we've got the finish applied to the base as well as the edge of the slide out top and the drawer front. Now I'm gonna go ahead and install the drawer and use these 16-inch drawer slides. So we're gonna simply mount these inside at the appropriate height and install that drawer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I absolutely love the way that the nightstand turned out, and the faux fluted, or whatever you want to call it, drawer front really looks amazing. It was something that I really didn't want to do because I knew it was going to be time consuming, but after about 1,000,000 cuts, I will say it was probably worth it. So there's a few really cool features in this nightstand. Obviously we've got the detail of the feet at the bottom, the fluted front drawer, and then we've got the power strip mounted, flush mounted into the back for charging devices and so on and so forth. But as you can see, this bed setup with the loft above, we couldn't get the nightstand all the way up against the bed. So in order to cure that, we've got the slide out extension for the top where he can rest things and pull that out when he needs a little bit more access to the nightstand top itself. If you want the full plans for this video, make sure you click that link up there, and that's going to take you on over to the website. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that one right there and you won't miss out on any future videos. Until next time, be safe and happy building.